यूं ही चला चल रही, यूं ही चला चल रही, जीवन गाड़ी है समय पहिया.
Hello guys, welcome to the podcast. So this is our second podcast, Independent India to the current India. So now we are going to talk about period between 1857 or 1847 up till all the way up till 1947 or 1948.
1857 to 1947.
Yeah, basically up till the partition. So we'll be covering a lot of topics.
Oh, Nithi, nice background.
So this is our second.
Yeah, I love the movie. Joker was nice.
Nithi, I think you made it look like that, right?
What?
You made Amit Shah
He's a
look
good
like
actor, bro.
This
He's
is
a good
totally
actor.
original, this photo. Yeah.
Do you realize that people will start thinking that you're against the whole thing that BJP is doing? Do you realize that? Would you like to clear yourself out?
No, I'm with BJP, bro.
Oh, right. Okay. As soon as you put a cow's picture, yeah, everything is clear now. Chalo, let's start then.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, let's start off with Congress formation after rebellion. So this was the before Congress was formed. Dadabhai Naoroji, he was one of the great leaders and founding fathers of Congress. Before that, in 1867, he'd established this association called East India Association. This is one of the organizations of Indian National Congress, which basically aimed to put across Indian perspectives to the British government, British public. So, in 1866, there was this, what do you call it? Ethnological Society of London, where they were trying to claim that the Asians were much more inferior than Europeans. And the association helped them to debunk this propaganda, and this basically helped them gain much respect throughout the community of British, like Europeans. Once this happened, a lot of eminent Englishmen started helping Dadabhai Naoroji and his association, and because of that, they were able to considerably have influence in the British Parliament. Dadabhai Naoroji is the first guy who became MP in the House of Commons in London.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So around 1885, so I think he came back to India, and around 1885 with a few members from Kerala, namely Surendranath Banerjee, who is one of the main guys in founding Congress, made Congress in 1885. So basically, in the beginning, they were more about debates and how the British Raj could help them gain more power within India and get them to exercise powers in India. And basically, Dadabhai Naoroji was one of the instrumental leaders who helped in.
He was also the father of Jawaharlal Nehru, right?
Being the mentor.
No. That father was Motilal Nehru. He was another member of Congress.
Motilal Nehru.
Yeah.
So how did the power transfer?
One of the founding fathers of Congress was actually a Britisher. He is A.O. Hume.
Yes.
So yeah, he was.
I read about that guy.
He was a civil service officer.
He is
he wanted to represent Indian interests in the government. So he actually convened the first Congress meeting back in 85. Yeah, 85. That was the first Congress meeting.
Okay, where was this?
Bombay, I think. Yeah, Bombay. Okay. Correct.
Dadabhai basically was a mentor for all the leaders for the upcoming next century of the 20th century. And a lot of leaders looked up to him. Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Bal Gangadhar Tilak.
Did you just say Bal Gangadhar Tilak?
A few other like Lajpat Rai.
Yeah, but Jinnah also. He considered Dadabhai Naoroji his idol actually. So yeah. So these three people, Dadabhai, Jinnah, and Gopal Krishna Gokhale, they wanted dominion status for India. Yeah. Like Canada and Australia right now, they wanted dominion status. So this was one of the key factors.
What does the status of that sort guarantee, or what does that give to a particular country?
It basically means the head of the state is the queen.
Okay.
So for even today, the head of the state, even though she doesn't have any powers over the Australian thing, the head of the state of Australia is the queen.
Oh,
is it so?
I didn't know that at all.
I am blown away by that fact. Does that mean that the highest authority is at the end of the day, if any collapse or something of that sort happens in the country, then the powers are given to the queen? I mean, the queen can take any decision that she wants.
Kind of, yeah.
Oh,
she actually doesn't have any power. It's just what to say, not a formal thing. Just like it's more of
a special
traditional sort of thing, yeah.
And do they earn anything out of this? Does the queen earn anything out of being the highest head of state?
No.
Yeah. At least not in current affairs.
Correct.
But I was reading how, Bal Gangadhar, Lokmanya Tilak, and what's his name, Gopal Krishna Gokhale had almost similar backgrounds, and they came from almost same places, but somehow they had different ideologies of being radicals and moderate. So I was talking about how Dadabhai Naoroji had this theory called drain theory, and basically drain theory stated that how the Britishers have been taking the wealth of the Indians, who were draining Indians' wealth by one point or another. He had stated these points through 6 points. I'm not going to name them now. If you want, you can. And Nitikesh were discussing about how socio-religious leaders had also a main part in spun for there was two this was started by Raja Ram Mohan Roy, who was I think he was not conservative, he was a modern thinker, and he believed that few rituals that we Hindus had was outdated and obsolete. Is the right word?
Like Raja Ram Mohan Roy was a king. Was it so? Or
no, I don't think he was a king. He was an artist, if I'm not wrong. If my 8th grade history doesn't fail me.
Yeah, we did see his painting. Yeah, but why Raja though? I mean,
I don't know. His mom was like, "Arey, mera beta Raja beta."
Chalo Raja.
And so I didn't do much research on Arya Samaj and Brahma Samaj, but these are supposed to be one of the main. Even Swami Vivekananda and Rabindranath Tagore, although their writings and teachings were a big factor for us in the independence war.
Yeah, I think Rabindranath Tagore and
independence movements and
are given a lot of
how the society.
Arya Samaj.
Yeah, the thing is, I didn't do much research on this, but I know for a fact that after doing like very small research on this, that these two societies and these leaders were actually instrumental in the people to fight for their war, for their independence.
What are the differences between Arya and Brahmo Samaj? If you know about it.
I really don't know. Pause. Pause.
तब से उसको क्वेश्चन कर रहे हैं, तो ये है क्या, वो है क्या, वो राजा है क्या, ये दोनों इम्पोर्टेंट है क्या, डिफरेंसेस
यूपीएससी का टेस्ट देते तो मैं
रिक्रूटमेंट चल
यूपीएससी
रहा है
का
अभी,
टेस्ट दे
आरएसएस
देता.
के लिए रिक्रूटमेंट चल रहा है. यही है भाई, आरएसएस का इंटरव्यू यही है.
हाँ,
अच्छा
तो
यूपी के
बेसिकली
वीडियो पे
आर्य
बन रहा था.
समाज एडिटिंग मस्त करेंगे इस पे फिर हम लोग. Arya Samaj was founded by the sannyasi called Dayanand Saraswati in 1875, and in this, they believed in one god and the rejection of worship of idols, and they believed that Hinduism was a superior religion compared to others, while Brahmo Samaj, which was started by Raja Ram Mohan, stated that all religions are equal to Hinduism. And this happened during the Bengal Renaissance. Now, I don't know what that is, but I will do my research and tell you. And
And Brahmo Samaj,
basically,
it was popular among the elite, and Arya Samaj, it was like it reached more outside the
masses. It reached
basically to
more
the masses. Yeah. Correct.
yeah. And I think Brahmo Samaj was established much before Arya Samaj was, because I think it was established around 1820s. The what do you call it? The Brahmo Samaj, while Arya Samaj was founded around 1875. So there you go with the differences.
Yeah.
These two organizations basically promoted.
Yeah, basically
importance
these
of
were two. Somehow I was reading somewhere that Vivekananda and Arya Samaj and Brahmo Samaj, Rabindranath Tagore, their writings and their philosophy somehow helped people to come around this idea of independence. And around that. So now around 1900s, all the prominent leaders started coming. So you've got Gopal Krishna Gokhale, then you have Lokmanya Tilak, you have Lala Lajpat Rai, Bipin Chandra Rao, Bipin Chandra Pal, and a lot of these leaders. So now here comes the fun part. Not the fun part, maybe the strategic supremacy of Britishers. This is the divide and conquer rule, right? So around the time where 1905 to 1911 or something, parts which shaped our Indian rule and basically India's rule. So around 1905, they somehow said that Muslim people weren't getting the same representation as the Congress had promised in this representation of oneness or unity of the
This
whole
was
of
in
India.
This was in
And basically
1907.
1905 or
And
1905
Jinnah was
to
not in the
1911
picture by then.
Jinnah wasn't a political leader then. Jinnah was in fact Jinnah, he was the one who united Muslims as well as in Hindus together. Like he was the ruling factor in that.
Yeah, at that time Jinnah was practicing actually in England.
He was a barrister in England. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think both Tilak and Jinnah had made a pact.
So around this time,
during that time, to fight together for independence. I don't know when was it exactly, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that's called the Lucknow Pact or something, maybe. I think so. So I think it stated like equal representation in the electorates of Hindus and Muslims. Maybe I'm not quite sure.
Okay, sir.
Anyways, then around so this the Britishers helped in using this divide and conquer rule by telling or stating
play.
Yeah, so they told the Muslim community that they weren't getting as much as representation as they required, and Congress did not, uh, you know, keep the minorities up in high regards, is what they were trying to say, and led to the formation of All India Muslim League,
Mm.
and that Hindu Mahasabha was formed, which Hindu party, and
Okay.
yeah, basically they divided the people within Congress. Congress, few leaders who wanted reforms within the constitution, what the government provided,
Mhm.
and leaders such as Gokhale, Gandhi wasn't in the picture, I think, then, but
Yeah. He came around later.
few other
Yeah.
leaders,
He was still busy
a lot of
freeing
Congress
the
leaders
Africans
were,
from the colonial
Mhm.
South Africa.
yeah,
Yeah, this was
South
around the time
Africans,
when
right.
Lokmanya Tilak he came into the picture around. So he didn't quite like the dominion idea that Gokhale and Jinnah actually were suggesting. So he like split the
Exactly.
Congress thing. So it basically split into two. Like those who wanted more extreme, those who had extremist views, they went behind Tilak. They wanted quick independence actually. What Jinnah and was long term thing, like gradual transfer of power, something like that. So yeah, this was around the time
I
also
think,
that yeah, continue.
I think Jinnah's reasoning was because the Britishers had provided a lot of things which probably wouldn't have come to India. So let's say like education and trains, railways, and a lot of other
Hmm.
socio-economical aspects which had led to India becoming a much better country than what it could have become. And yeah, like I said, Gokhale and Lokmanya had a very similar background, but somehow Lokmanya thought that we needed Swaraj. Swaraj is the term for self-governance,
Hmm.
and there was a fight inside. So the dispute happened because Lokmanya wanted Lala Lajpat Rai to become the president of INC in 1907,
Okay.
while Gokhale wanted someone else. So somehow, some person or some leader attacked the opposition within the party, and that led to a brawl inside the party.
Oh. Okay.
So it was to this fact that I both you know had opposing views, but they respected each other a lot. And since they had similar backgrounds, Lokmanya was gonna get hit by someone, and Gokhale just came in front of him to save him, basically.
They
But
were
this was the main,
they were quite close friends, I think, right? Like in
yeah,
the past.
yeah. That's what I was reading. That they were pretty close
Yeah.
friends, but they still had very opposing views.
Okay.
And when when this happened, this is the main reason why they split. And after that, very important situation is the partition of Bengal.
Yeah, I would like
So
just like to narrate an
partition
incident.
Beng
Yeah, I read this in
uh,
Amar Chitra Katha. I don't know if it's true or not, but like
okay.
when Tilak and Gokhale they were together, so Tilak in a fit of anger he threw the queen's picture down and broke it.
Whoa.
Yeah, so and Gokhale was like, don't do it, respect her, don't show so much violence, something like that. I don't know if it's true or not, but yeah, I remember
I
reading.
love the fact that you remember that he was a good swimmer.
Oh yeah, correct. This
I like- so for anyone who's hearing this, Lokmanya Tilak was a good swimmer.
yeah.
If that's the point you want to take away from this whole podcast made plus Lokmanya was a swimmer. And
what did I learn from the random point?
And yeah, so
Lokmanya was a swimmer, good swimmer.
Random point. It's so random that you know that Lokmanya was a good swimmer.
Yeah. Truly random one.
Another thing that you learned is Nitikesh's childhood was entirely focused on reading Amar, Chitra, Katha.
And reading about good swimmers in the 20th century.
Okay, we are drifting away too much here.
Biscuit just fell.
Anyways, क्या कर रहे हैं?
Crackjack with tea.
Ah, nice.
Sponsor,
तेरे दान के थ्रू अभी वापस दिख रहा है.
Sponsorship plugin Crackjack खाओ. खुश हो जाओ.
So, yeah, partition of Bengal was very important, because the viceroy at that time divided Bengal on the basis of administration, and this was done without the knowledge of any Indian leader.
Mm-hmm.
So this was one of the main things which contributed to divide and conquer ideologies, and from there, Lokmanya wrote a lot of articles in his newspaper called Kesari.
Okay.
About how we needed Swaraj.
This thing. The motive behind the partition of Bengal was Bengal used to handle. So they wanted some parts of it to be added to other provinces. That was the basic policy. But yeah, Indians perceived it as divide and rule.
As divide and conquer, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Another thing is that Tilak's Kesari, the magazine, was extremely popular, right? I think.
Yeah, so I was reading somewhere that before Gandhiji, Lokmanya was the most famous politician or most famous freedom fighter in India.
Okay.
Although, yeah, like his ideologies of Swaraj had instilled a fire within Indians that we needed to have self-governance and we didn't need any of the British rule to handle our government or religion.
Sort of bias towards Hindus or something, or was he secular?
I don't know about that, but he didn't have very liberal views about the world. So 1 second, I just written.
We shouldn't be getting into those things.
So I just.
You shouldn't be.
भाई नहीं मेरे को तो बोलना है उसके बारे में.
अरे सही है ना.
मेरे को तो बोलना है उसके बारे में.
Okay, was this before Mangal Pandey or after? This was after Mangal Pandey and before Bhagat Singh.
This is after.
Yeah, after.
Yeah, this is before before Bhagat Singh. You're right.
Yeah, so, Bhagat Singh due to the split in Congress, one extremist and one thing liberal thing.
So Bhagat Singh was with the extreme.
So
correct.
Bhagat Singh was with the extremists. So I was reading this, how Tilak was strongly opposed to liberal trends emerging in Pune, such as women's rights and social reforms against untouchability.
So cut कर दो.
Now you would think that, oh my god, भाई कट नहीं करना, ये सुनना अच्छा ठीक है, कोई पकड़ के पेलना दे, but ये है actual में. ठीक है. And he was so anti-British. There was this point of them abolishing child marriage around called the Age of Consent Act in 1891 to raise the age of girls' eligibility for marriage. See, Tilak wasn't opposed to this act, but the fact that Britishers were trying to implement this law, he got annoyed and he said, we can do this on our own. And I oppose this act.
Again, guys, whatever we are speaking right now are solely based on facts. We are not including our opinions.
It's totally facts presented in Wikipedia. If you want, you can go check it out.
The link is in the description for
it's
all
not
the
my
things that we are going
opinion.
to speak.
Yeah. See, there was one more thing where Tilak, he tried to get the moderates and conservatives back together in 1916 to 18, where he founded this All India Home Rule League with Annie Besant and one more person.
Annie Besant was a
And
very
after
important
a
figure,
few
right?
years,
We have to talk about.
yeah, she was the founding mother, let's say mother of INC too. So she was from, I think she was from outside India. I think she was from Ireland or something.
Okay.
And she had done a lot of work in Ireland and then come to India to help Indians get their freedom to rule their own country. And yeah, she was a great woman. And
so Tilak
yeah, so
was
I was saying Tilak was
more like against the British than changed to reform. Am I correct?
you're right.
Okay.
No, it didn't matter whether the correct rules were implemented. He wanted the Britishers out in total cost.
So basically, he was pissed
Somehow
off with
there was
Britishers,
a
and
hatred filled in him.
although he had
Yeah.
not opposed to the reforms, he was pissed off with the Britishers. So his
He was pissed off that the British implemented
that
reform.
maybe.
Okay.
Sorry.
I mean, whether he was secular or not, that's a question for another thing. Because I mean, we cannot determine it, because every time something something that comes up that seems to be anti-secular, it might of just well be, and his stance against British and stuff being anti-secular per se, right? It's difficult to determine what his views were as such, I suppose.
And yeah, so he was so opposed to the Britishers. He wrote so many articles against the Britishers that he was, charged with sedition case for more than 3 or 4 times. So
for those of you who don't know what sedition is, as Ajay was telling the other day, it's turning against your own government. That is when you're faced with the charge of sedition in a very simple way. If you have to explain what sedition, turning against your ruling government.
You're right. You're right. And basically, the guy had a lot of ideas. He had some weird conservative ideas, as well as the ideas of ruling India on their own. And that's Lokmanya's story. And he even tried Gandhi to get off of non-violence movement, and he didn't like the idea of non-violence.
Yeah.
So he was a total.
That was one of the major reasons also why Jinnah left the Congress. He was opposed to Satyagraha, or that's what Gandhi called it.
I think that's a very interesting point. I think we have to bring up the whole case of the Indian National Army and Subhash Chandra Bose, and why, if Tilak was against the idea of Satyagraha, then why wasn't Tilak with Chandra Bose, or was he?
I think Subhash Chandra Bose, he came into the picture after Tilak had lost his power or died or something, I think, right?
Wasn't Tilak alive all the way up till independence? Was he or wasn't he?
He was. I think last what I remember was he was sent off to Mandalay. It was a prison thing in Burma at that time. After that, I'm not quite sure.
Right.
When was this?
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. It's 1920. I'm not.
He was charged
I think
under
by then Chandra Bose had
na?
started forming things, right? Bhagat Singh and all of that.
Oh, Bal Gangadhar Tilak died by 1920.
Oh,
he
27 years before the independence.
But but
he did leave
Subhash
his
Chandra
influence
Bose
on a couple of others who started off an organization, a very beautiful organization represented by the orange color that that we'll talk about later on. So yeah.
Yeah, that is a topic for the next podcast.